My 31F husband 31M joined the Proud Boys. I don't know how to reconcile this. My 31F husband 31M of almost 10 years reached out to our local Proud Boys group and requested to join, and was approved. I found this out while I was looking through his email account for tax documents, something that is totally normal in our relationship since I handle all the finances. I consider myself a liberal, and he has always been a conservative, libertarian. I always made peace with this difference by avoiding talking about politics and understanding that we have the same goals, just different ideas on how to achieve those results. When I confronted him about joining the group, he denied all my accusations that the Proud Boys were racist, violent, etc. In fairness, this local chapter repeatedly states in their code that they have zero tolerance for discrimination against race, religion, sexuality, etc., and that they are not a fight club. All my other accusations against the group were rebutted. He did state that he agreed with their West is best philosophy, which he insists is related to capitalism, democracy, not race. I pressed him for why he felt the need to join an organization widely regarded as a hate group, and he said it was hard to find like-minded conservatives his age to hang out with. He just wanted some drinking buddies. My pleas to check meetup.com or local church groups fell on deaf ears, even though I found several groups that matched. I am having so much trouble reconciling the caring man I know versus his online far-right persona. I've not been happy with his Twitter account that is very trolling, but will only call it out if I see straight-up BS. It's nothing harmful, he just enjoys arguing and riling others up on technicalities, hence why we don't discuss politics. But this Proud Boys membership is a step too far. I'm so ashamed to admit I'm married to a man that is part of this group, hence the throwaway. We have a 1-year-old daughter, and he is an otherwise loving husband and father. He rocks her to sleep every night, and immediately gets up in the night if she cries. He always asks how I'm feeling, and quickly takes over if I'm overwhelmed. We have been together since we were 14 years old. How do I reconcile this? Do I just ignore it unless he actually says something that goes against my values instead of just judging by association? I'm having trouble drawing a line and weighing the good against what I perceive as bad. I have no other cause for divorce, separation. Too long did not read. Otherwise loving husband has joined the Proud Boys. I don't see him as a hateful person, and I'm not sure how to reconcile this in my relationship with him. I am having so much trouble reconciling the caring man I know versus his online far-right persona. That is not a persona. That is the same man. In fact, that's more him than anything. When you go online and believe what you say and do has no consequences, your true self is revealed. I don't have any advice but want to point out that this persona is a part of who he is. What he truly believes. My husband joined ISIS. When confronted, he defended himself calling it a Muslim outreach program. LMAO. Throw this dude out already. I mean, they're a designated hate group in this country. You've already allowed your husband to begin sliding down the slippery slope by enabling his online trolling. This is the consequences of that. If I were you, I'd draw the line now. Hard and clear. You won't stay married to someone who's in a designated hate group. It doesn't matter what their local chapter says. He can argue whatever he wants, but be firm. Your husband is turning into a hateful person. He knows he can't truly say what he feels to you because you wouldn't want to be with him. This is how hate groups draw people in and radicalize them. Please seek outside help, either therapist or divorce attorney. See, that's the trend I've noticed with Republicans. This reference is from my mom's side of the family and my partner's entire family. They care a lot about close family and friends, but that's it. He may be a loving and caring husband, but he is probably not an overall loving and caring person. Joining a hate group is a deal breaker for me. The Proud Boys have been deemed a terrorists group, and rightfully so. And people wonder why I always think relationships with wildly different political views are doomed. You can only not talk politics for so long. If I was your daughter and found this out later in life, it is the equivalent of finding out your dad has a Klan cloak in his closet. The Proud Boys is a neo-Nazi terrorist group. Your husband joined a neo-Nazi terrorist group. He is well aware of what they actually stand for. He just keeps it quiet because he knows you will disagree. You're not worried he'll teach your daughter the filth that the Proud Boys spew? IDK. This is why I think it's important to date people with similar politics as yourself. Now you're married to a member of a hate group. He said it was hard to find like-minded conservatives his age to hang out with. He just wanted some drinking buddies. In other words, he's so far right even regular conservatives and libertarians are put off by him. This is who he is and always has been. He's just been able to keep that side under control because until now he had no real choice because no one else would put up with his views, especially his wife. He's kept that part under a rock, but the emergence of Trump and groups like the Proud Boys have helped it come out into the daylight because now it's safe to express these views and find like-minded people easily. I live in Canada. Our country just added the Proud Boys to the terrorist, extremist list. There is nothing wrong with being conservative, but this group is an extremist group. They maintain a veneer of respectability to encourage people to join, but at its core it is truly ugly. I wouldn't let this go lightly like it is nothing. I don't see how joining a group like this will end up being beneficial to you or your family. Personally, I wouldn't stand for it. I was witness to Proud Boys violence in Washington, D.C. before the Capitol riots. They stabbed 3 Black Lives Matter protesters in one night. Please leave this person. Him being in a terrorist group could really mess up you and your daughter's lives, and that's not being a good father at all. You don't reconcile this. Your husband is a domestic terrorist and a racist arsehole. Get out of there. Get proof he is in the organization. And get emergency custody for now at least. Your husband joined a violent far-right hate group and you're asking how to reconcile it? Let me get this straight, he joined a group that is known nationally to commit hate crimes, whose leadership and line members are regularly embroiled in scandals and court cases relating to those hate crimes and domestic acts of terror, and you're asking how to reconcile this because he's nice to your presumably white child? Come on, Op. You know better than this. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here. He just wanted some drinking buddies. This is a lie. It could be subconscious or somewhat subconscious, but he doesn't just want drinking buddies, and his support of their West is best policy isn't just about economics. This guy is about 4 seconds away from falling down a pretty full-on rabbit hole. I'd be pretty disappointed, Op. Hang on, so the Proud Boys isn't a gay group? Girl, run. First they came for the communists and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one left to speak out for me. Him online is who he is without hiding it from you. I'm not big on ultimatums and think they should only be done in extreme circumstances. Joining a hate group is one of those circumstances. Leave and refuse to come back until he disavows them and gets mental help. West is best is a white supremacist slogan. Time for a divorce, a lawyer and any other kind of help. Proud Boys are a terrorist group. And then there's the part where he hid it from you. Because he knows exactly what he's doing. You should post on that QAnon casualties group. Canada declared the Proud Boys a terrorist organization. Staying with this guy is like staying in a house that's rotted to the core and will poison you with mold because it has nice curb appeal. You're not going to get objective advice about this on Reddit. Divorce, obviously. He knows it's wrong. That's why he didn't tell you. He is not looking for drinking buddies. Your husband joined a white supremacist terrorist organization because he is a white supremacist who wants to be a member of a domestic terrorist organization. The fact that he tucks in his baby every night is not going to save you from losing your house when he and you both get fired and he goes to jail. This is who he is. Do you want to raise a child with a white supremacist terrorist? Just because the local KKK chapter doesn't support lynchings doesn't make the KKK any less bad. If he really just wants drinking buddies, it sounds like you provided plenty of other alternatives that do not involve white supremacy groups. This would be a deal breaker for me, to be honest. You need to set a boundary now that this is concerning behavior that you do not want to be around. These are not ideals you are comfortable with your child possibly one day learning. If he doubles down, that's probably your answer. Please ask yourself this question, and answer it honestly. If you aren't going to draw the line at joining a hate group, where will you draw the line? A hate crime? Some light treason? Insurrection? Will you love and honor this man if he goes to Washington, D.C. to join Stop the Steal protests on March 4th? Is QAnon a deal-breaker? Determine where the line is for you. Because there is an old saying, 4 Nazis are sitting at a table. A 5th person joins them. What do you have at the table? You have 5 Nazis. Are you a Nazi wife? Why did you marry this man? As a child of 2 still happily married parents of different political parties myself, I certainly don't think all married couples have to agree on all aspects of politics, but neither of my parents has ever joined an officially designated hate group, and neither of my parents has ever supported or joined a group that supported overthrowing our democratic system of government. There has got to be a line drawn somewhere, and it sure looks to me like you've failed to draw one anywhere at all. I do not think this is something you ought to reconcile yourself to. Your husband just joined a terrorist group, I think that's enough to consider him a hateful person. Reddit isn't the best place to get an honest opinion on this matter. You should probably seek couples counseling. I don't think you can? If you aren't okay with what you know the Proud Boys are, then there's no middle ground here. You can disagree with partners on topics like taxation or international trade policies, but racism, and that's what the Proud Boys are about, at their core, is more than political, and should be a deal breaker. Maybe he's lying to himself, but you know that he's lying to you, because you know about this group. I would leave, for you and your child. It will be healthier for both of you in the long run. Why the hell do couples think that avoiding talking about politics is a good idea and then get surprised later when they find out their spouse is an absolute piece of shit? That is way too much in my opinion. My boyfriend is more conservative and I'm liberal. But as a minority, I could never imagine being with a member of the Proud Boys. I know it isn't really possible for you to just dump him, since you're married with a kid. But I think this is really major. It's about morals and empathy and consideration. Why would he feel the need to join the group? Obviously he knew it wasn't right and that you wouldn't be okay with since he didn't tell you. The Proud Boys is literally a white supremacist group, one that typically causes violence towards minorities. I think you need to keep letting him know that you aren't comfortable with him joining the group, and that him being in it could change things. Your husband joined a violent hate group. Run. News flash, your husband is a human piece of garbage, and has joined a group classified as a terrorist organization in other countries. Their claims are bogus. It's all about hate. By staying with him, you are setting a precedent that this is okay, which also implicates your character as well. Being a bystander makes you part of the problem. You're either with him or without him. There's no in between. Run. The Proud Boys are just racist. They are misogynistic organization. Run. Run as far as you can and never look back. Your husband is gone. Move on. Fascists are very loving. Towards a very specific subset of people. They often turn abusive later as the hatred poisons their mind and situations outside their ideal arise, but quite a few prominent ones were perfectly good family partners. Now that he is a member of them, you can't come up to Canada to visit my country with him as they are considered a terrorist organization. Your husband joined a terrorist organization. Do you know how the Proud Boys do their initiations? He probably best the shitnout of some poor minority somewhere. Your husband may be nice to you, Hitler was nice to Eva Braun, but your husband believes what he believes, and while 10 years ago you guys may have had the same goals, I'd challenge you to re-examine that belief now with the context of his joining the Proud Boys. I'm so sorry. I just found out a few weeks ago that one of my close friends of many years joined and is advancing through the leadership ranks of the Proud Boys. He says the same things about not tolerating racism and blah blah, but also was recently arrested because of his affiliation and attendance at protests. I have no solutions, but if you want to talk with someone else feeling the same nauseous, sick, gut drop feeling you're currently feeling, feel free to message me. All the best. Your husband willingly joined a racist hate group, so you want to be married to someone like that? You reconcile it with divorce. Run. His views are going to become more and more intense as he spends time with the echo chamber. Eventually he will absolutely start trying to press them onto you and your child. He better be careful. I don't know what he does for a living, but in my town we had a third-generation firefighter lose his job as a firefighter at the behest of the community when it was found out he was a member of the Proud Boys. Leave him, sis. I'm sorry to tell you this, but that should absolutely be a deal breaker. He sought out a well-known hate group and then he joined that hate group. And of course they're going to say they don't discriminate, they do that so they discriminate. They can be like, well no, but see, our rules say we don't discriminate, so you're wrong. I know people are gonna hate this, but it's an extremely privileged idea that politics don't have to be a deal breaker, but also you need to understand this isn't about politics. Like, I'm crazy gay, and if someone told me they started going to Westboro Baptist, not because of the terrible things they do but because of the Sunday service, I absolutely would have to cut them out of my life. There are some things that you can't overlook.